worked out pretty good.
Nice. So heading back into hockey, how do you feel about how your team performed this first half of the season, and how would you kind of rate that on like a
Oh
scale?
no, no, we did great. We did very good. I just have it like split up into two groups in a way where I think our first 10 games, we really played well. Then I think our next 8, I think we're like a little above 500. So I liked, and as a whole, the way we performed in the first semester. It got us in the top 20. So our goal is obviously to get to nationals, but now is the time where we gotta, we gotta put our foot on the gas here and perform at a high level for the next couple of weeks to put ourselves in a good spot.
And how do you think the players having that time off will help them kind of, like you said, go full steam ahead now in the second half to make that run for nationals?
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because it's good to go home and relax, but again, we gave them so much time off. Now it's back to them to getting back into game shape. So obviously you have shape where you're just off ice training, which is great, but when you start incorporating game-like situations, it's a little tougher. So we understand that it's going to take a little time, so we're going to make sure that we go accordingly, that we practice them hard, but at the same time we're preparing them mentally and physically for the upcoming games.
Like you said, a great first half of the season for the team. What do you think went right and what do you think went wrong, maybe especially towards those end few games, that series against UCO, that you want to see fixed and turned around for the second half?
Yeah, I really like the way we started. We didn't do anything different. The only thing is the second part is like what you were saying. I think we sort of went away from the game plan a little bit. And when we did that, it just hurt us. We're a type of team that has to play a certain way. And when we do, we can see the progress that we make and the results that we got. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to our game plan, playing a 60-minute game, making sure that we score in our power plays, and we play hard. And if we do that, we give ourselves a good chance to win.
And going back to that UCO series, you guys lost 3-1 and 6-3. But the interesting thing about that game was both times you outscored UCO in shots. What do you think it was about that series? Was it their goaltending in particular? Was it maybe a little bit on your own offense that made it so difficult to get past them?
But here it is again. It's a catch-22. You were mentioning about shots and the analytics that we read after that series. In 2 games, we had, I think it was 178 shots attempted. But only, I think it was less than 60 hit the net.
Yeah.
So that's a big swing. The good part is that it shows that we have control of and possession of the play because we have the puck. But when you have over 170 shots attempted and only 60 hit the net, that's not a good average.
Yeah.
So the whole point is rectifying that, simplifying the game, basically hitting the net. And that way it would give us a better, obviously, offensive chances to score. Because it's like you said, the first game we scored 1 goal, and the second game I think was 3 goals.
Yeah.
So we averaged literally 2 goals a game, which with us we're usually averaging 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah.
So again, little things like that we just need to just to correct, and it will benefit us in the long run.
So now looking forward, you guys will see them again in mid-February. What are some things that you guys can change or you're looking to do when you're looking at scouting them to make that be a different outcome for you guys in that mid-February series?
Yeah, right now I'm not even looking that far ahead. Right now it's basically we're looking to this weekend, which is San Diego. It's a team that's in our conference, and it's going to be tough. And the next couple of weeks are going to be tough, and the reason is it's because here we're coming off a long break, and our first 2 games back is on the road. So whether you like it or not, it's just that's how the schedule is made. So when you start off on the road and it's your first game, nothing's going to be perfect. So obviously we're going to have to bear down, simplify the game, and make sure we play a certain way to make sure we get the wins.
And looking ahead to San Diego State this weekend, they're 4-15-0, last in your guys' division. Only 9 points in 20 games. Despite them being in last place, what are some of the things you think they're sneaky good at, the reasons that you can't necessarily count them out?
I don't look at the rankings and seeing where they're at, because anytime you play, anytime you play an in-conference game, throw those rankings out the door. We're coming into their building, and obviously they're going to be pumped up to play the University of Oklahoma. Our goal is to make sure that first and foremost we outwork them. And if we do that, then hopefully it's our talent that takes over and dictates the tempo of the game. But first and foremost, we got to be mentally and physically ready to make sure that we outwork the opposition.
And keep going.
Yeah, and that way it will give us a good chance to win.
And like you mentioned earlier, the beginning of this second half of the season is very away heavy with these games. How do you kind of, keep the team and yourselves as coaches kind of on the point when you're traveling? And I'm sure there's a lot of jet lag. And of course, these players, they're still student athletes, so they have to come back and complete their courses. How do you kind of handle such a backloaded home schedule?
Yeah, no, it's for the player for our student athletes, it's fun, because they enjoy it, because you're going somewhere that some guys have been to San Diego, some have not. Some have been to California, some have not. So it's enjoyable, it's fun for them. It's good team bonding. They get to, obviously on the road, that's where you do most of your team bonding. But obviously, we're very allure of the situation of being on the road. Basically 2 straight weekends. So obviously that takes into account with the way we practice, and basically, and then you got to factor in if there's injuries or not. So, we're aware of it, but with us, we enjoy it, we have fun with it, and we basically welcome the challenge to it.
Awesome. And then it's a little late. It is the 15th of January already.
Yeah.
But do you have any New Year's resolutions for this team? Kind of what you want to see for them going forward, not only the rest of the season, but maybe looking as early as next season?
Yeah, first and foremost is, we have a couple of seniors that obviously we want to see them graduate with great GPAs. Secondly, we want to see this team get to nationals. Thirdly, we want to make sure we compete very well at nationals. And I think those were the goals that we've always had since day one here, is to get there, see the type of matchup we get, and then make a good run for it. But again, that's months away. We have our focus right now, which is this Friday, and that's where it's going to start.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Awesome.
Amy.
We'll be right back with our Christian Markey. We'll be interviewing some of the players from the team. Stay right here at Hockey Time in Oklahoma.
Native Connor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not so bad myself. So, what are you looking forward to the most with these upcoming road trips? You got the San Diego one this weekend, and then followed by the Colorado one.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to how we respond to having a long break. Especially on road trips, it's difficult to be 100% focused. So I think I'm looking forward to how we respond to that and how we perform.
So you haven't. OU at least has not faced SDSU in quite some time. How do you set a tone against a team like that you're not really too familiar with facing, at least in your OU hockey career?
Yeah, I think we have to come out strong, just like every other game. And, set the tone and get a good jump on them.
So kind of run us through your sophomore, but you played here for a little bit now. Run us through how you became, you started out as a rookie, obviously, and then you kind of worked your way up to a consistent top 4 defenseman on the team. Kind of run us through how that looked in your career.
Yeah, I think just staying consistent on the ice and in the gym, making sure I don't cheat the drills and get everything done correctly. I think that definitely helped me to where I became.
Who were you closest with kind of going up from when you started to where you're at now? Who's kind of been your closest? Every team's kind of got 3 to 4 guys that they're really close with. Who are those guys for you on this team?
Yeah, so Logan Cavalcanti is my roommate. So I've known he's been my roommate for the past 2 years. So I'm real close with him, as well as Ben Mondu and Adam Goldstein. It's we always drive together, us 4. So it's us 4 are probably the close.
So you have that off-ice chemistry. How does it kind of translate to on-ice? You know, I don't think a lot of hockey fans who haven't played the game before really understand what that means to have these sort of like outside of hockey relationships and how that translates, you know, to passing the puck well and knowing where your guys are going to be. How does that kind of work for you on ice?
Yeah, well, I think it pushes us to compete a little more because obviously I want to be better than them and they want to be better than us. So it kind of pushes us, and as well, it allows us to work well together because we kind of just we know each other. We're like good together. So.
And so kind of shifting things, you're a business major. What do you want to do after you graduate from Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. I mean, I'm only a sophomore, so I got a few years to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, the options are open, so I'm just taking it day by day, I guess.
And you are a Boston native. Are you a Boston Bruin fan?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You have any thoughts on how this season's gone? Obviously, they fired Montgomery, to my understanding, pretty prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it seemed more of a player issue. In your eyes, kind of how has this season looked for the Bruins?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it was a player issue. It's obviously not one of our strongest seasons in years past, but I'm hoping that we can quickly turn it around so we can be in a spot for playoffs.
And what other teams do you follow? All the Boston area teams?
Yeah, so Bruins, Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots. So, yeah, all four.
You got the highest hopes for the Celtics this year winning a ring?
Yeah, two-peat, yep.
Yeah, that hurt as a Mavs fan. That hurt to watch, but that they're a wagon right now.
Yeah.
Tatum and Brown locked up. They're going to be a force in the league for a long time. Do you have a Stanley Cup final pick?
It'd be a shame not to say the Bruins, but being realistic, it's tough. I don't know right now. If it was getting closer to the end of the season, I think I'd be able to navigate a pick. But right now, it's too close.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Connor. Sooner fans, stay tuned. We'll get Matthew Demanchuk up on here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Sooner hockey fans, from that brief intermission we just had. Thank you again, Connor Horn, for taking your time to join us on this episode of Hockey Time in Oklahoma. Next up, we have Matthew Demanchuk sitting across from me, the Tulsa native. Matthew, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Not so bad. So you've kind of had an interesting season this year where you started out, doing really well. You were a point-per-game guy, five assists, 1 goal through 6 games, and then you had that injury happen. Kind of walk us through what that process was with rehabbing and making sure, you're back to 100%.
Yeah, so it was around first week of November where I got hurt, separated AC joint in my left shoulder, and, just consistently still going to practice, seeing Anita, who helped me out a lot, and, just speeding up the recovery process, giving me exercises to get to where I'm at now. And then obviously Christmas break was a big help, just being able to work out again and strengthening my shoulder.
And from a fan perspective, it's hard for people who haven't played hockey to understand kind of what the challenges players face when they get certain types of injuries in terms of rehabbing. Were there any big challenges you had to overcome?
I think just not having a super consistent routine with working out was a little hard. Just resting sometimes wasn't always the most fun. You always want to go out there and help your team out, but it was hard to just sit there and watch sometimes.
So
sure.
You started out as a rookie and have come in strong and been a force on this team. How have you seen it evolve since when you first got here to where they're at right now, kind of knocking on the door of St. Louis again, similar to last year, but how has this team kind of grown as a unit together?
Yeah, so I feel like as I've the more time I've been here, we've just grown as a team. We've gotten to know each other a little bit better. Our chemistry's gotten better. The way we pass the puck, we just like can see each other better.
What needs to be, kind of taken care of to close out this season in your eyes as a player? What are kind of the things that you need to check off the boxes in order to kind of punch that ticket into the Nationals tournament and kind of finish out strong how you guys would like to?
I think just staying consistent, making sure that we don't play to the teams that we play's levels and play our game, play hard, and just believe in ourselves. Just believe that we are the better team at all times.
So what are you looking forward to the most on these upcoming road trips? It's kind of fun. You grow with these guys, you become best buds with them, and now you're going on the road for, the next 2 series, one to San Diego State, one to Colorado. What are you looking forward to the most with that?
I think just enjoying the whole process, traveling with the guys. It's always a great time just hanging out with everyone, getting to know each other deeper, and obviously going to a place like San Diego, which is new to probably some people, and it's just such a beautiful place. So excited to go.
So shifting the tone here, you're from Tulsa. Do you have a favorite NHL team?
I do. Chicago Blackhawks. My dad grew up in Chicago, and he kind of just instilled a whole Chicago sports into me.
So what needs to be fixed with Chicago? Obviously, they got Bedard, they got their guy, but they're continuing to face problems over and over again. If you were their GM, what would you kind of do to fix that team, at least put them in a better position for next season?
Just build the young guys, maybe trade for a guy to help Bedard, but, don't know too much about, the pro hockey level and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I believe in the Blackhawks, though.
Do you have a Stanley Cup final pick or matchup that you think, following the league right now, and how have things have gone? Who do you envision in the finals right now?
I like Florida out of the East just because they did it last year. I feel like they're going to, have the same mentality going in. As for the West, it's kind of a toss-up. I think Edmonton obviously has a chance. They got 2 best players in the world. I also like Vegas. Vegas have been there before, so
they're always a safe pick.
Yeah.
They're always a safe pick. Well, thank you for your time, Matthew. Sooner fans, stay tuned. We will have an interview with Caleb Shaw and BCB coming up. Make sure to stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
Welcome back into Hockey Time in Oklahoma, everybody. I'm Caleb Shaw here alongside senior netminder Brenda Culbertson Bond. And it's really coming full circle this year, I think, where you and I have been around about the exact same amount of time when Benny and Matt Bowling had me up in the booth about when you were a freshman here. Is the end in sight for you right now, or is everything kind of one game at a time right now?
Trying to take it slow, but it's definitely coming up, and
Yeah.
it's looming in the thoughts that college career is coming to an end here.
And so, what's the plan right now?
Hopefully, gonna head over to Europe next fall and continue playing hockey, which is ultimately the goal, and keep doing that for as long as the body's willing to.
Right.
And if that doesn't go according to plan, then I'll probably move back home for a little bit and get my master's in sports psychology.
Sounds like a good plan. So, speaking of not going to plan right now, just to kind of shift gears a little bit for you, end of the semester is easily you guys' hardest stretch so far this year. And at the beginning of the year, we were really beating a dead horse up in the booth about how much production some of the rookies had, the sophomores had. When you go through a stretch like this, do you take it upon yourselves as the veterans, yourselves, the guys wearing the A's like Tristan Glass, do you guys take it upon yourselves to try and help pull the team out of a slump like this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I started off the season, I think, 4-0, and then I'm 1-4 in my last 5, and I started to think, like, is this something I'm doing wrong, or is this affecting everybody? Like, what can we do as a group to get out of this? So I'm hoping the break gave everybody a nice little refresh and a reset. I know we were battling a lot of injuries, especially D-core-wise at the end of last semester, so it's nice to have everybody healthy and back.
And so when you get everybody back, you're going on a long road trip to start the semester off. You're heading up to San Diego this weekend. Then we're going to head up to Colorado again, back into the mountains. It's not really talked about much, but in the WCHL, I mean, there's 3 time zones you guys go through a lot. Does that start to bother you at all when you have a trip like this where 2 or 3 straight weeks you're going from Central to Mountain to Pacific time?
I don't think it'll bother me too much. I mean, I'm from Mountain Time Zone and just spent the last month there, so I think going to San Diego should be an all right adjustment for me, but I could see the guys that are born and raised here in Oklahoma going from a 2-hour gap to a 1-hour gap, then back to regular time.
Yeah, so the last time you guys would have been out there would have been, I guess, when you went to UNLV to play in Pacific time.
Yep.
You guys have any plans this time for when you're out in California, off the ice, anything you're doing, or is it kind of a strictly business trip?
I would like to say strictly business, but the sun's out. It'll be nice to go see some sightseeing. I'm not too sure about all the smoke from forest fires, though, that are going down there. So hopefully the air quality is not too bad for us, and we can spend some time outside and enjoy it.
And get some sunlight compared to out here recently where, I mean, it's been miserable outside.
Yeah. Some nice 20s.
Yeah, so you got 8 games to make a case for the national tournament. It'd be the team's first time there since the 2019 season. You guys are probably on pace right now. You're right on the bubble where it's kind of keep doing what you're doing. You'll likely impress the computer enough. Is there anything, is that in your sights right now? Or again, do you guys have to take it one weekend at a time?
We need to take it 1 week at a time. I think part of the reason why we went into that slump at the end of last semester is we got a little bit too comfortable with where we were at in the rankings, and now we're back in a more uncomfortable position. I think we're at, 17th now. We can't get too ahead of ourselves, especially with all in-conference games being the rest of our season. We need to just...
And you're unique in that fact, too.
Yeah.
Compared to other people like UNLV, Utah, they've got some non-conference games to maybe not tune-up games, but they have other things sprinkled into to stay fresh, and it's not a do-or-die situation to try to get that auto bid for them.
I think UNLV will end up with that auto bid, but I think we can finish easily second in our conference if we execute these next 8 games the way we know that we can.
And so before I let you go, this is kind of on that same note. I mean, this is a team that looked like it got used to winning, and it knows what winning feels like now. Is that something that helps you guys pull out of a slump, is knowing what it feels like when you come out of the gate and you really do put a good show on?
I think so, yeah. We got a bit of a distaste for losing. I like to think that we hate to lose more than we like to win, and I think that's a good mindset for us to have going into these next 8 games. Like, we have to play all out, and especially with our last league game coming almost a month before the tournament starts, like, we need to put everything we have into these last 8 games.
Well, I think that's what they're going to do. Thanks for joining us here tonight at Logie's. It's Wing Wednesday. Come down and join them for that. You'll see us live at Arctic Edge Arena in just a few weeks, but until then, it's a long road trip for these guys. We'll be right back in a few minutes for a talker segment here. Stick with us on Hockey Time in Oklahoma.
Welcome back, Sooner hockey fans. We are trying a new segment with your favorite OU hockey announcers and producers on why your NHL team is pissing you off this season. We have a lot of a different variety of NHL teams that we all follow here, pretty much all different teams. And so first up, Elijah Lena is a Philadelphia Flyers fan. Elijah, how have they pissed you off this season?
I mean, they're kind of to be on average, I would say. It's been like this past few seasons where they've just been mediocre, to say the least. And I would say in the ways that they pissed me off is I would say underperforming a little bit from last season. You know, it was a good season for us last season, just for the team. You know, they're rebuilding and whatnot. Almost made a really good push to the wild card slot. Didn't get it. That's okay. You know, I say it every season, but, you know, maybe next year's our year. And so far, we've just been mediocre. It's like, you know, I'd be surprised if we pull off the wild card. I think it's possible, but realistically
Don't get your hopes up too high.
Yeah.
I'm just
Don't
like,
get your
you
hopes
know
up
what?
too high.
We keep losing to teams I feel we should beat, and if that's how you're playing, I just don't think you're going to make the playoffs. So that's why the Flyers are pissing me off.
So next up, we have South Carolina, but also North Carolina fan, native, Hurricane fan, Caleb Shaw. Caleb, why are the Hurricanes pissing you off this season?
Well, we all know how it's ended in the past few years, losing to the New York Rangers over and over and over again. And while I'm enjoying the Rangers' downfall as much as anybody, right now, this team plays too small. And I'm one to talk, standing in here at my stature, but I would add more size to our penalty kill right now. This is a team that's got to get more physical, and if they can't do that, they'll be relying on hoping that they get Wonder Boy plays from Natchez every single game. And you can't rely on a guy that disappears every single playoff series that much.
Nope, not at all. And next up, we have St. Louis native Lauren Simpkins with her most recent out of all of us fans Stanley Cup champions in 2019, believe it or not. That's how much we've been miserable for 6 years. None of our teams have won a Stanley Cup final. So, Lauren, why are the Blues pissing you off this season?
Well, they like to lose to teams like the San Jose Sharks and then beat teams like the Winnipeg Jets. And I think if you're a team that can beat one of the best teams in the league right now, but you can't even score against the San Jose Sharks, no offense to Sharks fans, you don't need to be playing hockey.
There's not that many of them, don't
Yeah.
worry.
There's really no hope for us, I fear. So.
Thank you, Lauren. All right, and next to air our grievances, Amy Acevedo from New Jersey. The Devils have done better this season than seasons in past, but what's been pissing you off about them this season?
That's the thing. There's not really much to complain about. They've had a great season so far. I believe right now they're sitting at third in the third overall, second Metropolitan, something along those lines. But it's just the defense. Every single night that they play, you'll see highlight after highlight of Jacob Markstrom making some absolutely incredible Martin Brodeur-esque saves. And somehow they'll end up losing in a shootout or going into overtime and forcing Markey to make those saves. And it's just a little bit frustrating. I know we have a little bit of a newer defensive core this season. Luke Hughes is improving. He's a lot better than he was in past seasons. He's still very young, but just kind of irks me a little bit sometimes that he's doing all this acrobatic stuff and for some reason we can't secure some of those wins. So that's my grievance. What about you, Christian?
Yeah.
Dallas Stars, Texas, or native of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, big Stars fan. What are your grievances with them?
I mean, 2 Western Conference finals in the last 2 years is not much to gripe about. However, this season, special players but not special teams. That's been their issue. You have the 3rd best penalty kill in the NHL sitting at, 89%, and then you have the 2nd worst power play, in the entire league. And so when Steve Spott, the special teams coach of the Dallas Stars, is on the chopping block, you can't fire him because he has one of the best PKs in the league, but it's also hard to keep him around because the power play is abysmal. And so finally the Stars have moved to a 2-man net front power play where they set 2 guys up. Back when we had Joe Pavelski, he was able to just tip it in so easily. That was his bread and butter. This year, we don't have anybody like that. However, we've gone back to the old ways of that power play, and you're starting to see production. So they just need to win a cup. This is their window. Their window is closing. Ben and Sagan, they're getting older. Sagan's hurt right now, but eventually, if they don't win it in the next 2 years, the dream's over, at least for the next 10. So
yeah. So professionally, you'll see here at OU Hockey TV, we're a little bit miserable, but that's why we are so thankful and fortunate to cover the OU hockey team that is doing so much better this year when our professional teams kind of let us down a little bit.
Yeah. We thank you for tuning in, Sooner hockey fans. Wish these boys good luck on their road trips to San Diego and then Colorado. We will catch you guys next week for Hockey Time in Oklahoma. Have a good night.